In this video, I'm going to tell you why narcissists begin treating you like dirt, even though they literally just seem to be so madly in love with you, and we're starting right now. Narcissists are really such fickle little creatures when you think about it. You go from the fairy tale of love bombing and into the horror story that is the devaluing stage, sometimes overnight. Other times it's a slow, subtle transition. Either way, you end up in a nightmare that never seems to end. So what gives with all of this, right? Why do they do this? What happens? Well, number one, the narcissist devalues you when they frankly know that they can get away with it. When you're being love bombed by somebody narcissistic, the whole goal of love bombing is to make you fall in love with the idea of who they seem to be, and you have to do it as fast as possible. So when you do this and you do fall in love with them, what most of us do when we really, really care and like someone, our standards and boundaries kind of go right out the window. We love them, they know that we do, and that's around the time devaluing will start taking place. They know they have you in their claws, in their grasp. You're obsessed with them, in love with them. You'll do anything for them. It appears they'll do anything for you, not so much. But unfortunately, part of that anything that you are now willing to do for them is putting up with the abuse of devaluing. In other words, you're not going anywhere. They can start being more demanding. They don't care as much if they hurt you. They're more bold and brazen with their lies. They're convinced at a certain time in the relationship that you are in this forever, you won't go anywhere, so now you will put up with the true reality of what they are that starts to spill out. That part of them that they're suppressing that just seems to come out in full, seemingly right before your eyes. Devaluation, quick little definition here, and trust me, this is just the tip of the iceberg, but again, quick. It's when you're put down by the narcissist. These are the insults, the mean, really cruel jokes where they're just kidding and they try to make you jealous, and there's blows to your self-esteem, hits to your ego, who you are as a person, some triangulation, jealousy. We'll talk about that later. But speaking of the put-downs and the insults, let's move on to number 2. You are devalued when the narcissist is incredibly bored of you. Being bored is something that is always going to happen to somebody narcissistic. They like the whirlwindy, romancy part of love bombing, but right at the point where the relationship should kind of cool off a little bit, become more stable, more committed, more secure, and you start moving forward, this cool down is where devaluing will come into play. You're boring now. Most of the time you haven't actually done anything different to be boring, but the easiest way for me to say this is kind of like the new car smell has worn off. I haven't said this in a while because I haven't talked about devaluing for quite some time, but narcissists have the attention span of a moth. Your old news, devaluing starts. It's actually pretty simple. But along with being bored, I also want to add in here that they need the ego boost. When a narcissist is love bombing you, yes, you feel on cloud 9, but so does the narcissist. You're complimenting them. You can't get enough of them. You want to see them. How wonderful that must feel for them. When things get stable and frankly dull, they're not getting that huge ego boost anymore. 1 month into the relationship, sure, you can't get enough of them, but at 3, 4, 5 months in, life kind of gets back to normal. The honeymoon is kind of sort of over, and you're moving into, again, something more mature, more stable, so on and so forth. Again, narcissist is not getting the ego boost. You might still be texting, but you're not blowing up their phone. You might only come over a couple of nights a week instead of 3, 4, 5 nights a week, and this just doesn't sit well with them. You're already not giving enough. There's a lull for them, a dull lull in the relationship. So they're going to spice things up with some jokes, some cruel ass jokes and tell you they're just kidding, some insults, sparking some jealousy. I mean, this is where the lovey-dovey shit is over. And now they're going to start getting their kicks by upsetting you, getting a rise out of you, making you jealous, triangulating you with other people to get you to fight with them or against them. I'm telling you, when the romance is dead and it doesn't last long, they switch up to drama. A third reason for devaluing is the narcissist is really pissed at you. Narcissists idealize you. They put you up on a pedestal. You're perfect to them. However, as time goes by, the fact that you're human hits them right in their frail little ego, they actually get really mad to see that you're human and flawed and imperfect. You get angry. There are other things about you that they find they don't like. By the way, we do the same thing with them, but since we actually love them, we just accept them for who they are. Narcissist, not going to have that. Now you're somebody that the narcissist didn't realize you were. They feel cheated. They actually feel tricked, duped, however you want to say it. You appeared to be one way, and now you're not. Again, this also happens for us. Ironic if it wasn't so sad, I know, but the anger starts to come out. They get resentful, mean, cold, and cruel. And this is where you might say, well, fine, if they don't like it, then just leave. Why stay in this? Why continue to devalue me and treat me like shit? Just go. Well, trust me, when you're being devalued, the narcissist is actively seeking out your replacement. They won't just up and leave most of the time. They need to use a technique called monkey branching. They're reaching forward and reaching around and trying to find somebody else while they're still hanging on to you. They have to make sure they found somebody else who they think is perfect before they go and discard you. I won't get too much into the discard here, but I do have videos about it, and you can find links down in the description. If you want more information on the discard, I have videos about how to tell if a discard is coming, how you deal with being discarded, what life is like afterwards, and so on. If you want to talk about a narcissistic relationship that you feel that you are or were involved in, you can send an email to BookAChatWithJess@gmail.com to get information on my private chats and coaching. Let's move on. Number 4, the fourth reason for the devalue. The narcissist is over you. I won't drag on talking about it. I just said the most important point. Once they know that you're not perfect for them, code for you won't put up with their bullshit, they start looking for someone new. As soon as the jokes get a little too mean, seem a little too serious, they pull back. They run hot and cold. This is essentially the reason for it. They're looking for somebody else. Number 5. Number 5 is probably the most obvious reason why you're being devalued, and that's why I put it further down on the list. I mean, let's say it, there's somebody else. I mean, it's fact that they start looking for somebody else. When exactly, I'm not too terribly sure. I've read a lot about it, but I think a narcissist is kind of like a fisherman, and they always have 8, 10, 12 lines in the water circling around the boat. There's a little fishing rod about a foot apart all the way around, and they're just sitting in the middle of it. Ooh, is that a bite? Wait a minute, somebody will bite. Let me look around. Something will happen. I'll just wait. And it just keeps happening and happening. There's always a line in the water. But once all these other things I've talked about start to happen, they're definitely more on the lookout now than ever for somebody new. And again, this goes back to, why don't they just leave? Well, they do, but curiously, even after they do, you're going to be put on the bench and, you'll wait. You don't know you're waiting, but you're going to wait to be hoovered. And rest assured, when you are hoovered, if you allow that to happen, if you entertain it and speak to them, you'll just be devalued again. This happened to me, and I speak from a place of experience. My initial love bombing period was about 3 months before my devalue. When I spoke to him, when I was hoovered, I got about a week, just shy of a week of love bombing. And it was right back to the same old bullshit that he was pulling when I was getting devalued, however the hell long ago it actually was. Nothing really changes here except you go through the cycle faster and faster and faster. But all through devaluing, triangulation and jealousy are big things narcissists use to manipulate you. They need you to have some fear in your heart that they might leave. They need you to be jealous of other people. Like I previously said, when they get bored of things, they go to the dramatic side. They start telling you things like, well, their ex was better looking than you, so you really should do something about that. There's something that somebody does better than you do, so you might want to work on that, work in that department. Or they begin to openly, publicly flirt with other people and, to get you to react the way that you do. The way I did, which is you try harder to please them. Yet another perk in them treating you like shit. Let's get to, the point here and say what it is. When you feel low, when you feel like shit, useless, ugly, fat, old, poor, whatever they've told you that you are, there's nervousness, there's anxiety, there's fear that creeps in, and you start to wonder, they actually might go. Will they stay or will they go? They seem to already have one foot out the door already. They're running hot and cold. And you know what that means. When they're running cold with you, it's hot with somebody else. So you do exactly what I did. Again, you step your game up. You try harder to make them happy, and in the end, it never works anyway. I mean, in love bombing, you're worshiping them, which gives them the ego boost. In the devaluing stage, they keep you weak and feeling shitty about yourself. They get to watch you scramble for their approval, chase them, beg them, all that stuff that boosts the ego. They discard you for someone new and hoover you back when they feel like it. So if you really look at it like this, there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of a downside for them, does it? And that is exactly how the narcissist likes it. This video goes over a lot of information on devaluing, but if you want to know more about love bombing or the discard phase, I have videos on both. They're on the screen for you now. You should definitely check those out. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself.